Do you trust people? Do you trust the people that work with you and for you? If you don't have trust, it sort of eats away at any relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship, a marriage, a relationship in the family, a relationship in business, a relationship with the people that work with you, a relationship with your patients. I consider myself a very trustworthy person. I try not to lie. I try to be ethical. I'm not perfect, but I try to do that on a daily basis. I always try to tell patients the truth in a gentle way as long as it's not going to harm them or make them feel bad. I try to do it in a gentle way. And because of that, whenever someone says, I don't trust you, it always baffles me a little bit. But I understand why they don't trust me. They don't trust me because they themselves are not trustworthy. And I've had a number of employees and a number of patients, thousands actually over the years, where they didn't always trust me. And I laugh to myself, I'm thinking like, they don't trust me and I'm telling them the truth. Who are they going to trust? They can't make a right decision. Who to trust? In our core values in our practice, we have 5 of them. The first one is integrity. We attempt to hire people that have high integrity. You can't do that. There's no test for testing for integrity. It sort of comes organically over a period of time, but you get a pretty good feel when you interview somebody, and we do some of the culture indices that we do in our practice. So we, in our practice, have a great team of people that all practice with integrity, almost every day. Matter of fact, today, I have a phenomenal team. I love everybody in our office. And I don't know if I could say that over the last 40 years of practice, that I've always loved everybody in the practice. But we've gotten better as a team of hiring the right people. Matter of fact, our culture is great. You know, they say culture is one of the most important things in terms of training others. Now, we don't have culture that comes in here and here's our culture. It's just part of the organic way in which we practice on a daily basis. So when someone comes to work in our practice, the culture is already present. Stu Leonard has a very large grocery chain, probably the largest independently owned grocery chain in the entire United States. And I know Stu Leonard Jr., and I've met Stu Leonard Sr., who's passed away a few years ago. And they have a big sign when you walk in to their office that says, number 1, the customer's always right, and number 2, please reread number 1. And the people there are really nice, and it's always been voted one of the top places to work by Forbes magazine. And I go in there, and people are nice. You know, they're helping you with whatever you have to do. And I once asked Stu Leonard Jr., I said, you know, what's your training program? He says, well, we show him a 20-minute video that my dad made 30 years ago. I go, yeah, and that's your training program? He goes, no, then they come to work. And when people come to work in our practice, we have a manual, we have a training program, we have a way of doing it. But really, how do they learn? They learn by working in our office and being in our office. And I always tell them, I said, you know, to become minimally competent, it takes about a year because that's how long it takes to really understand the culture. Yeah, they can know where to put this pen and where to put this book, etc. But it really does take a year to really learn the culture. So what am I saying? I'm saying we have an office that's built upon trust. We have an office that's filled with integrity. And I trust the people that work in our programs, that work in our office. I trust my team members. I trust Taylor to make a decision if a patient complains about a bill. She can look at that and make a decision. Should she write that bill off? Should she give that patient a courtesy? She doesn't say, well, I got to check with Dr. Sonic. Let me call you back. No, she can handle it right then. When somebody at the front office can handle something immediately, how does that make you feel? You know, it used to be a joke when you used to buy a car. You'd go in and you start to buy the car and you negotiate the purchase price, and the guy would say, well, let me go talk to my manager. And it always made me laugh because who are they talking to in the back? They're sitting in the back, they're having a cup of coffee, you know, they're having a Danish, and then they come back 10 minutes later and go, I could do this, this, and this. You're not negotiating with someone that can actually talk to you. I love it when the person at the front desk of a hotel says, you know, we've upgraded you today, or we can do this for you today, or I can take care of that for you today. They don't have to check with the manager. When you have to check with somebody else, when a staff member has to check with someone else before they make a decision, they are not empowered. And when they're not empowered, guess what happens? Ambiguity increases, friction increases, and they can't make a decision. So that relationship that they have with the person they're working with, whether it's a patient or a guest in a hotel or a guest in a restaurant or somebody that's getting a plumber to put something in, no matter what that relationship is, the stress level is going to go way up and the effectiveness goes down. And the time you spend creating that mess, okay, can't be recovered. It'd be much easier and less costly and less stressful and also great marketing. If the person at the front of your office can say to the person that has a complaint, no problem, I can take care of this. Here, we'll give you 10% off. We'll give you 5% off. Or whatever your protocol is. Or you may not even have a protocol. There are protocols in place for everything that we do in our practice, and we've talked about that in previous videos. Those protocols guide us. We're not locked in. Because there is no one way to do anything. There's multiple ways to do it. That's why we have multiple ways of doing it. You know, I joke about that there's a right way to do everything, and that's why they call it the right way. Well, there's not the right way to do everything. There are multiple ways to do everything. And sometimes one size doesn't fit all. One size fits one. As Will Guidara talks about in his book, Unreasonable Hospitality, one size fits one. You have to customize it. And how do you make it customizable? By hiring people who have the right values. But that's not enough. You have to talk to the people. You have to train the people. You have to train the people that work with you and empower them and tell them how great they are at doing what they do. And I try to do that on a daily basis. And again, I'm not perfect, but I try to acknowledge the people that work for us because they're volunteers. They don't have to be there. They're there for a paycheck, but they're also there for something more. They're there for something bigger than themselves, where they can go every day to an office and say, hey, great place to work. I'm trusted. I'm trustworthy. The people that I work with and for are also trustworthy. It's a great place to work. And patients feel that. So when you trust people, they trust you more. And then the life that you lead is a better life. When I walk around thinking that everybody's out to get me, guess what? They're out to get me. When I walk around saying it's going to be okay, it is okay most of the time. So just a couple thoughts on trust and trusting your employees and empowering employees to be, trustworthy. Have a great day, everybody. And remember, be the gift.